Okay, so this week we compared and contrasted the two great works of the two idolized ancient societies. We read The Laws of Manu, which explain the early caste system that formed in ancient India. We also read Bangu's The Ethical Principles of Political Economy that went into detail about the social class structure of ancient China. Both excerpts elaborated on the tendencies towards social division, as it happened at many different times and places throughout world history. However, unlike in other parts of the world, we see differences between the conquerors and the conquered gradually disappear over time, and according to the laws of Manu, in India, they form divisions between what is known as the caste system. According to the laws of Manu, Brahma, the ancient universe soul, as Ganek describes, recognizes the caste system as the basis of order of society. The caste system is divided into four social classes, the Brahmin being at the top and the Sudras being at the lowest class, serving the Brahmins. All classes were created or said had to been given rise to from the creator's mouth, arms, thighs, and feet to ensure the prosperity of the world. But in order to protect the universe, he had to assign duties, which opened up the opportunity to assign classes. As we see in ancient China, according to the ethical principles of political economy, we see the natural tendency to divide the population into social classes again, as we saw in India, and very similar to the caste system. Ancient China divided its people into the Shi, the farmers, the artisans, and the merchants. Merchants being at the bottom of the social system. The duties of these classes were very similar between the two ancient societies. I believe the justification in which the people were obliged is a bit different, though. In ancient China, Hinduism was a major influence on the why behind the division. The premise of reincarnation was a huge driving factor for everyone to fulfill their duties within their class. If they excelled and lived out the right doings of that class, they would be granted a higher class the next life. However, as we saw back in Peru and the Amazonia, there are still the conquerors and the conquered. The Brahmin were at the top of the caste system and lived as the highest in society, down to the Sudras that were the slaves for the Brahmin. As in ancient China, they had sage kings. These sage kings were related to a semi-mythical king, but they delegated these appropriate classes of people that would contribute to the even distribution and harmony that was sought out in the Qin and Han dynasty. These sage kings were justified on the basis of rituals and past dynasties. So we see a different approach as to the influence on the people and why the people obliged within those two different social divisions. According to the ethical principles of political economy, there was an emphasis on class division, more of a patrician structure, men at the top, with women and children aiding to the continuance of these divisions. Women were seen as inferior and work jobs that remained at home. They needed to produce goods and create support groups to the younger women so they will follow traditions into their adult existence. Again, this stems back to rituals and following past traditions. The young boys, however, were set up to be warriors and arranged into classes of schools based on abilities. Those that were deemed the elite were presented to the Son of Heaven and were on track to be classified as the rising Shi group, which in ancient China was the top of the social division. The classification of classes were based on political structures, but were organized according to the seasons to ensure the encouragement of everyone fulfilling their duties happily. In this excerpt, we don't see so much the punishment of not fulfilling those duties as we see in classical Indian parent. We also see men as being the superior. So a big distinction between both social divisions.